Hello, what's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Grand Mafia. And for today's video, we'll be going through the Governors War 1 and 2. Alright, before we move on to the actual map, let's zoom in into this council hall, the interface during the Governors War battle, and you'll see several tiles. At first is the state milestone, similar to the city hall. When you just started the game, you see all these state milestone or the city milestone when you begin your Grand Mafia journey. I think for the Governors War, you also take about 60 days for season 1 and season 2 to complete the season. And for this, the end game, you should see the Arsenal battle instead of endgame during the first 1.5 months. Yeah, because I'm in the Governors War when it is finishing, so you will see the endgame instead of Arsenal clash or Arsenal battle. Alright, the next one is over here. You see the Street 4 sweep, and basically during Governors War there is several events where you gain the state honor, and this state honor you can use it to redeem any of the items as shown, and you only can redeem it closer or at the end of each of the state war. And some of these items are exclusively gained only through this method, like those jewels, especially the Godfather's jewel, which is pretty good, a pretty good jewel to increase the stats of your crew. Yeah, so having a lot of jewels will give you an edge when you want to attack other people, because it increases your troops HP or attack or whatever the jewel will give you. Yes, because you only can redeem your state honor tokens, whenever you change city to another Governors War, you will not be able to redeem the tokens because you have not reached the end of the Governor War. However, your state honor tokens will still be kept at the same amount regardless of which city you move in. So the only downside is that you will only be able to exchange it when the Governor War is ending, and the amount where, as you can see, there's the remaining, like for each of the, especially the Godfather jewel, you only can redeem one. So if you accumulate your points, you cannot get 2 of those jewels. And for this state pass, it will be reset every 2 weeks, and you have to gain the Governors War or some sort of experience so that you can unlock some of the items at certain levels. Of course, the next part is the cops battle, and in the map you can see the police stations around, and each police station gives a certain amount of experience. So this experience will be seen inside your cops counterattack interface, and it is by faction, so your faction will get up the experience, and when the experiences and when the EXP exceeds that amount that is shown, you will trigger the corpse raid. So basically the corpse will attack your mansion, and the more corpse you kill, you will be able to get more rewards, looking at from tier 1 to tier 10 rewards. And the higher the level of the police that is raiding you, the harder it is to finish or to clear the wave, but at the same time there is more rewards. Alright, back to the Street 4 sweep. Basically, for every Governors War event, there is a few of these events, and the rotation goes by robbery first, basically to rob resources as many as possible. Second is the Street 4 sweep, basically to kill kingpins and casinos. The third one is to train associates, so you have to train as many troops as possible to gain the points. Of course, the fourth one is the investment or building. Finishing your construction or investments will increase the points for the fourth one. And the fifth one is a resting day, it's a preparation before the massacre day or the killing event day. And of course, finally, the 6th day is the killing event day, and this will rotate every 6 days. Yes, so it rotate every 6 days, and the most points you can get in the event would be the killing event, but at the same time it's the most difficult to achieve that amount of points. Alright, now let's look at the Governor's War map. And for the Governor's War Season 1 and 2, you'll be able to see 8 different cities that will be participating in the Governor's War. Before each of the Governor's War battle, there will be a pre-governor like prep time season where there's about, I think, a week or something that there's a few of these events where the city will compete against each other to gain the most points, and the city with the most points are able to choose the positions first. And different positions of the city starting positions will have several benefits and also disadvantages at the same time. Yes, for example, for my cities, the benefit and disadvantages for my starting field is a hitman 20% attack bonus and a bruiser minus 10% attack bonus. For the positions at the corner of the Governor's War map, they are at a slight disadvantage in a way that they have only 2 checkpoints that they can reach to the downstate district. However, for the 4 other cities that is not at the corner, like mine, we are able to get 4 slots of the checkpoint if you are a very strong city. So you have a larger area where you can go into the middle zone where there's higher level resource tiles, and also a step closer to winning the Governor's War. And of course, for the Governor's War, the first thing you have to do is to build a faction building, and every faction has their own territory. You can also only be in your territory at all times except during the killing event, of course. Yeah, so in order to build or increase your territory, you have to build these faction towers that will extend beyond your faction stronghold. And this is where the checkpoint comes in. After a certain duration, the checkpoint will open. Only when you capture the checkpoint, you can move on to the next area, and for this will be the desert area. If you have no territory faction within or connecting to the checkpoint, you're unable to build your faction towers and not be able to rob or attack anyone out of your faction territory. Yes, and because my faction has gotten a checkpoint over here, I'm able to rob the resources deeper inside the Governor's War map. And if you attempt to rob something out of your range, this is what will happen. You're unable to recon raid or rob the resource tile or whatever buildings outside your zone. If you see the white color or grayish territory interface, which means that your faction towers are not in effect, and if that happens and you do not have access to the next map via the checkpoints, you will also be unable to rob or do anything outside or in that zone because your faction towers are invalid. And lastly, of course, the arsenal battle that currently is shown as the end game for my interface. For every arsenal battle, it will begin on the killing day, so every 6 days. And an example of arsenal battle would be this little block where it is surrounded by fences, the gray zone surrounded by the fences. This means that if you are registered to the arsenal, you can only teleport within the gray zone unless your faction has the territory outside of the gray zone. For this example, it is the desert, and the advantage of this is something like a home and away base, where if you're home, the arsenal is within your home base and you can teleport outside of the arsenal and reinforce your stronger, friendly faction mates into the middle. Of course, last but not least, is the middle, the state governance building, and it is the most important building in the governance war map. And this is because when you capture the state building, you get a lot of rewards, and at the same time, the first time capture for the state governance building, you will gain 10,000 state honor tokens, which is really a lot. And yeah, before I end off, a good tip that I want to give you is that, as you can see in this world map, and it's very important that if you want to prevent competitors, that you build your faction towers quickly so that you're able to block their path towards some of the checkpoints. Yeah, so that's just one quick tip. And if I do miss out anything in this governance war quick guide, do leave it in the comments and I will try to collate them and hopefully write it down in my description box as well.